Hi, my name is Aubrey Barnhart. I'm 18 years old, and I'm currently a senior in high school. And so I've had 2 concussions in my life. I had one in 6th grade and then one in 7th grade.
Hey, I'm Mylan. My name is Mylan Patton. I've had 4 concussions.
My first concussion, what happened was I was part of a rec soccer team, and during practice one day, my coach was helping out, and he was in goal, and he was punting one of the balls back onto the field, and I was facing away from him, so when he punted it, instead of going up like it should have, it kind of went in a diagonal, and it hit me in the back of the head. It hit me right about here, so where the brainstem is slightly exposed and the skull's slowly coming over and protecting, so it's kind of a more sensitive area, so it just so happens I would get hit right there. And so my second concussion was less severe, more mild, because I got hit at recess with a basketball in the back of the head, but it was like a bounce and then it hit me. But just because I'd had a concussion the year before, my head was still super sensitive to stuff like that.
And I got it playing basketball, so it was just like a really hard play. I tried to go for a block, and I got kind of flown. I just ended up landing and getting whiplash. So one was from soccer, one was from football, and then one was from a car accident I was in.
I think it's really hard to prevent stuff like that because playing sports and being active, it's really easy to get hit. I think what could have been prevented was the way it was handled. A lot of people don't know how to recognize a concussion or when you've got a head injury, if it's serious or if there's an actual issue behind it. So it's important. There's ways to prevent extensive issues from that. By catching it early on and seeing that there's a problem before it develops into something worse.
But if I was playing a little bit safer, maybe it could have. I don't know.
So concussions have affected my life kind of in a more of a cautious sense. Like, I'm super preventative now. I don't want to ever have to go through that, especially because 2+ concussions can be really hurtful to your brain, obviously, but you don't want to have more than one. The doctor says it's really not recommended because it can cause severe permanent problems that aren't easy to fix, obviously. So I'd say it's just made me a lot more cautious and mindful about what's going on around me in order to prevent it and to kind of see anything coming before it hits me.
Well, they definitely hindered my life in a way, because I'm just having to make sure that I'm in safe environments and I'm not putting my head in risky situations where I can get hit or anything like that. But I guess the recovery part is the hardest, because you want to watch TV, you want to be on your phone, you want to play on the computer, whatever you have to do for long, like just as a normal teenager. But you know that if you have that concussion, it takes long for it to heal if you're on the electronics and putting your brain through all this activity and stuff like that.
Concussion awareness, I think, is really important, because for me, I ended up, brushing it off after even having sight issues the night after. I was like, it's just me, my mind playing tricks with me, like I'm not actually, I haven't been harmed by this. It couldn't have been, it was just a simple little hit. So I think making people more aware and showing them that concussions are real and that they can happen and that you need to recognize them before they get worse. That's really important, and I think you also need to know the risks of playing sports such as football. Super concussion oriented. There's a lot higher rates with stuff like that. Really, any sport in general, it's important to know the risks and the possibilities of concussions through sports.
Oh yeah, definitely. A lot of people use their head as a weapon, but your head is really vulnerable, and many people don't know that. So when you inform kids about the dangers of concussions or the dangers of head injuries, they can just be more aware and more knowledgeable as to how much danger you can really put your body in if you try to take those chances.
That's a great question. So you can get a concussion at any age, but typically we see anywhere from about 8 all the way up to 21 or 22. We typically stay with people who are in school. We have gotten requests for kids as young as 5 or 6. We usually refer those to pediatric neurologists though. So it's a clinical diagnosis, so there's no actual diagnostic test. It's not going to show up on any head imaging. So it's history and physical exam. We take the mechanism of injury, how they felt after the injury. Most of the times if you had a concussive event, there's going to be some disorientation, confusion, mental status change. You don't have to have a loss of consciousness. That used to be a requirement to make a diagnosis. That's no longer a requirement. There's impact testing that doesn't diagnose the concussion, but what it is, it's a mini computerized cognitive test, and we use it as a tool to help guide us in management. And so if that shows maybe some cognitive impairments with the kiddo, that'll kind of lean us towards and help us build our diagnosis. I have, yes, definitely. Concussion season, we're swamped. Yep. So any time of year you can have an increase, but football season, the fall is when we get really busy. It's hard to answer, but I think so. Yeah. I think it's become more widely known, and so I think it's probably always been an issue, but I think people are becoming a lot more aware of it and a lot more cautious of it. So whether or not it's actually changed and how many people are getting diagnosed or actually experience a diagnosis or a concussion, I don't think that's really what's going on. I think it's just getting more diagnosed and people are recognizing it a little bit more.